Very few of us are old enough to remember the Vietnam War in a live sense, which is to say most of us weren't there, but many of us have recollections of the images, or we've seen certain things historically. And if you go back to that time, you'll notice that there was a lot of protestation, there was a lot of opposition to the Vietnam War. And much, if not most, of the opposition to the Vietnam War was coming from a contingent of the left. And I bring this up because it's very easy to paint everything in broad brush strokes and say simply that the left is the left and there's no variation there, just like frequently people on the left paint the right and say, well, the right is the right and there's no variation there either. But the reality is that, especially these days, there are several groups, divisions within the left. And one thing that's come to my attention in recent weeks, but also prior to that, was a major division between what one might term or call the old school left, which is to say the faction of the left which is most concerned with things that we traditionally attributed to the left, for example, anti-war, foreign policy, socioeconomic policy, class struggle, all these things, social policy broadly, and another faction of the left which has always been there, but primarily concerns itself with pure social issues, which is to say the things that we've all come to know. Some of them are quote-unquote social justice warriors, these types of people. And we know the issues they tend to bring to the fore and talk about. And generally speaking, they are not interested in things such as foreign policy, socioeconomic policy, and they're very, very disinterested in class, because that's another huge distinction here, which is to say, in the former faction of the left that I mentioned, they tend to be more focused on broader issues of class. They, of course, sometimes talk about these racial matters, but they don't hyper-focus and obsess about it like this other variation of the left does. And because of this, there has been a growing division. Because even up to maybe 10 years ago, you could say that there was broad consensus within the left. Of course, there were exceptions, but broad consensus about goals and what they wanted to achieve and what they were striving for. But fast forward to 2015 or 16, and you already see rifts and divisions. And fast forward to 2021, the current year, and you see massive, massive, massive rifts and divisions. And one of the ways this has played itself out has been between the quote-unquote Young Turks, none of them are young anymore, and a former member of the Young Turks, also not young, Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore is someone whom we might call an old-school leftist. He's very focused on public policy, he's very focused on foreign policy, he's focused on class issues, and he spends a lot less time focusing on the social justice stuff that we associate with the most modern form or incarnation of the left. On the other hand, the Young Turks, which used to fall into that camp, although they always had these tendencies towards the SJW stuff, represent in many ways the new faction. They hyper-focus on all of this new stuff that we've grown accustomed to when we hear about the left and what the left likes to talk about. Of course, many people also claim that the Young Turks are corrupt and they are taking money, and that is the reason for their change of heart or change of mind. Neither here nor there. The point is that at this stage, people in various left-wing factions, primarily these two, are throwing each other under the bus, and there's no question who has the influence in the majority. It's the newer version of the left. Of course, it was always there, but in its current incarnation. And the old school leftists are kind of on the run. And there's a back and forth that's been ongoing, I've observed in recent weeks, actually for the last couple of years, between these groups, because, frankly speaking, they don't get along. Now, there's actually a third faction here amongst people on the left, and that is the left of center people, the sort of loosely liberal thinking people that we've come to know, people such as Sam Harris and the like. And they also don't fit within any of these paradigms. But the interesting thing to observe here is that the left of center people and these old school left-leaning people, leftists, if you want to call them that, the social issue anti-war types, they don't get along with the newest faction of the left. In fact, the newest faction of the left has this very strange mentality whereby they insist that you're either with us or you're against us. And frankly speaking, that's something new, but it's extreme in its current incarnation. You either agree with us or you don't. There's no variation, there's no flexibility. And what this has resulted in is a sense of estrangement within the left-wing thinking community, which is to say they don't get along anymore, and the mainstream left, the people who tend to propagate all the stuff we've become familiar with when it comes to quote-unquote progressivism, they don't tolerate them. But I think this actually has meaning outside of the left-wing divisions for the rest of us. And here's the sense of it. It's true that the most modern incarnation of the left, this powerful progressive wing that's obsessed with hyper-focusing on issues that never were a big focus for the majority of people on the left, and certainly not a big focus for people in the center or the right, it's possible that because they're throwing everyone under the bus, it's possible they will push more and more people who do not fall directly within the purview of their quote-unquote philosophy or way of thinking away. And it's possible as a consequence that there could be new alliances and new forms of cooperation. We've already seen some of this stuff. Jonathan Haidt, he started a foundation for varied thinking, if you will, getting people, academics, intellectuals from various parts of the political spectrum, not just the left. And it's a matter of time, in a sense, in terms of the resentment and the sense of estrangement these people are going to feel as time passes towards the left. I don't think they're going to fundamentally change their beliefs. I don't think they're going to become center necessarily or right. But there could be opportunities for coalitions, in theory. This was the question a little while ago. How long will this progressivism and this extreme form of leftism persist? And that's, of course, an open question. But if we do see these divisions and rifts within the left, it might be a sign, a positive sign, that the people who are being pushed away might be more willing to work with, cooperate at the political level and at the social level with people who aren't exactly aligned with them necessarily, but stand in opposition to the current day insanity of current year politics. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it is a possibility. Because I think these rifts will continue to grow, and there will be more and more problems, and something will come of it, although we don't know exactly what. I'm just hoping that some good comes of it with respect to cooperation, collaboration, and alliances that might bear fruit in the future. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. As always, please hit the like button, share the video, hit the bell icon to be informed of forthcoming videos, because YouTube throttles my views and does not inform my subs. And as always, if I'm still alive, I'll check you out later. May the gods watch over you. Take care of yourself. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you enjoy my content, please consider making a donation or becoming a patron. Thanks for watching.